What's up, brother? I got to shake your hand another time. Congratulations.
Oh, thank
What
you.
What a big time moment this is, right?
This is fantastic.
How fun has it been going through the whole process of getting John Mateer here at Oklahoma?
It has been really good to watch. I mean, obviously, we are on the sidelines watching the coaches do their work and bringing John in. But I've talked to you 1,000 times. I'm a fan. What a great day to be a fan.
What a great day. John Mateer, man, welcome to the University of Oklahoma. How's it going? How's it feel?
I'm doing great, Coach. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Dude, you saved Christmas. I mean, you saved Christmas for Sooner Nation. I hope you know that. All right, help me get to the bottom of one mystery. When you made the announcement, there is a picture of you standing out in front of Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, correctly
Yes,
throwing the horns down, but the year is 2020. Take me
Yeah.
through. Were you here as a fan? Take me through that.
I was actually there on a baseball tournament. It was me and my dad. We drove up there, and we had an evening off. So we went to go look at the stadium, and I knew I wanted to play either one of the sports in college, and it just happened to be football. And we kind of kept that photo hidden, just in case, whatever school I ended up going to. But it's crazy how it worked out. I get to throw the horns down all the time.
So I want to follow the path here just so Sooner fans can understand everything that you have battled through and overcome. You were originally committed to Central Arkansas, right? Incarnate
Yes,
Word.
sir.
Was that G.J. Kinney recruiting you back at Incarnate Word back in the day? And so,
No, it
was-
was Coach Morris.
Oh, Eric Morris. That's right, because he's now in North Texas. So you
Yes,
go
sir.
through that process where you're fighting, you're scratching, you're clawing. You get the offer from Washington State. The initial recruiting process, did that kind of put a little chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, no doubt. I thought I should have had a couple more offers and interest from bigger schools, but I didn't, and it sucked, and it made me real upset and mad, and motivated me to work harder. But it's all worked out now.
When was that moment for John Mateer at Washington State, or maybe it was during your senior year of high school, whatever, where you said, I can do this. I can play at the next level. I can play high-level college football. I could play potentially in the NFL. Was there a moment for you where it just really kind of clicked?
I'm big on proving it to myself. So not until probably the game against University of Washington, where we beat them, and I'd say I played pretty well in that one, and that's a good defense against Steve Belichick, who's been in the NFL. That was their defense coordinator. So when I went home after that one, I felt pretty good and pretty confident in my abilities.
Yeah, and so then let's just continue that path. You have a good run at Washington State. You put yourself in the portal. You end up here at Oklahoma. I mean, the whole process. I mean, Ben Arbuckle coming here. Take us through that relationship and how it helped to just bring you here to Norman.
Yeah, me and Coach Arbuckle have a great relationship. I've known him. He's coached me for 2 years, one of them being behind Cam, so I was able to learn from his mistakes and the things he did well. And Coach Buck has been a great man in my life and a great mentor, and I'm really excited to keep that going. And it was kind of a no-brainer to go with him to a school that I already knew the system and closer to home, and it's a no-brainer.
By the way, Jeff, can you take us through the process from One Oklahoma? You as soon as you walked in, just so you know, John, as soon as Jeff walked in, he's raving about you, right? Not many of us have seen you on video, we've watched you, but the process whenever you guys got involved and you got to meet John and see what it was all about.
Yeah, so the recruiting and all of that is between, the player, John Mateer, and Coach Arbuckle and Coach Venables. And so we're not involved in that. Nobody ever asked my opinion on player evaluation. It still hurts my feelings. But once all of that is down the road, then I get to spend a little time with his manager and kind of understand that side. And then when we met John, he came over to the One Oklahoma house that evening that he decided to come to the University of Oklahoma. I can tell you both before and after John got there, everybody on staff was high-fiving and jumping up and down like we just won the national championship. So just getting to know him. And I've said this about OU. John's a great player. That's not a question. And the coaches have decided that, and that's why they recruited him. But they continue to recruit really good kids. And that's what I saw when I met John. respectful, all of the things that you want, in addition to, yes, being a great player. And that it just as a fan, it is just a wonderful feeling to see that.
What's the response been like for you, John, on social? I don't know if you're a big social media guy or not, but what's the response been like for you from Sooner Nation?
I would say I'm a huge social media guy. All my notifications are turned off, thank goodness, because I've gotten a lot of followers and a lot of reposts and likes, and it's been great. I've definitely felt the love from social media and also from Jeff in One Oklahoma. I walked into that house, and they treated me really well, and I appreciate it, and they got me plugged in really fast, and it was great.
So for you, what's the path? Like, what's next for John Mateer? You're committed. I know we got a little bit of time before you get on campus, but do you allow yourself a little bit of a break to kind of, like, let it decompress after the season, or are you the kind of guy that's like, no, I know I got Deion Burks, I know I got Jaden Gibson, and I've got the guys coming in out of the portal. What's your process now going forward, John?
It's definitely important to give my body a rest, just because I took a beating. I kind of played some reckless football here and there, so I had to give my body a little rest. But I started working out again yesterday. Actually, it felt really nice, and so I'm gonna be working out now. I got to give my mind a rest because the last couple of weeks have been brutal. But it's great. It worked out. But it's time to go. I get there. I'll move there January 9th or 10th, and then it's time to go.
Last few weeks have been brutal, I know, right? Not just from a physical, but I'm sure from a mental perspective. But you got to take me through that moment, man. Whenever it's guys like Baker Mayfield that are reaching out to you, when you're hearing from. Now I'm upset. We got to get Kyler on the phone, knowing the Kyler Murray fan you are. But what was that process like for you to go from? Go full circle here. Central Arkansas, not getting the offers you want, to freaking Baker Mayfield is calling you to try to get you to come play at Oklahoma. That had to be a pretty cool moment for you.
Yes, sir. It was surreal. I actually didn't answer his first phone call because it was a number I didn't know, and I don't really answer numbers I don't know. So, but he left me a voicemail, and I was freaking out. I was like, "There's no way Baker Mayfield just called me." And I was sitting in Brent Venable, Coach Venable's office. The huge office, and I was like, there's no way this is real. Super cool moment. Called him back, obviously, and he talked to me, and he was a super humble, nice dude, and it really helped.
I don't know if you realize this, but everyone has access to YouTube and film anymore, so everyone is a scout. But for those who haven't watched yet, John Mateer, how would you describe your game and your style?
I'd say I have the ability to be a pocket passer, but I enjoy to run the ball. And then at the end of the day, I'll play a little reckless and tough because I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the game.
But in that, you got to take care of your body too, right? So when you play that style and you're playing – well, hold on here. We slide, right? We get down. We got sliding down as a baseball background. But what is that process? What has that process been like for you to play as reckless and as carefree as you want to be all out for your team, but also taking care of yourself on and away from the field?
Yeah. It got better throughout the year. I think there's a time and place to put your body on the line, but there's times where you don't need to. Your team needs you, and I had to learn that. So really, third and fourth downs, you can go get it, but other than that, just slide. There was a Utah State run where I just should have went down, but I didn't, and I kind of got a little banged up. And then at that point throughout the week, it's just staying in the training room and getting the extra recovery in, which I enjoy doing. It's part of it, but it's a nonstop process of getting your body and your mind right for the game if you play like a kind of really tough, I guess.
What stood out to you about – I asked about Ben Arbuckle first. I probably should have asked about Brent Venables first. I did a walk and talk last week with Coach Arbuckle, and I asked him the same question I'm going to ask you. I said, hey, what jumped out to you? What stood out about Brent Venables? And he goes, this man loves Oklahoma. And I'm like, yeah, he absolutely does. So for you, what really jumped out to you and at you about Brent Venables?
He just seemed like a great guy, and he seemed super passionate. First night I was there, I went to his house, and we just sat down and talked about football for a long time and the X's and O's and what he likes. And I actually asked him what he'd do to stop me. I liked hearing that. And and for my better, to make me better, and to just to get his mind going, see where he's at. But then just what he did right when he got there for the training room, and getting all the recovery stuff and soul mission and getting stuff like that in place to better his players, his performance, and on and off the field, and that meant a lot to me, and I know my family liked that, and it helped.
How important, John, is an entity like Soul Mission, right? To have an area that you can go to that's not the coaches, not affiliated with the coaches, but a place where you can go and talk life and talk about things that you're working through. Was that a big selling point for you?
Yeah, it was. I think having people that'll have a different perspective, they're not coaches and they're not just in the building talking about football all the time. They're just talking about life is great. Because it's a long year and it's a long season, and you need moments where you can just unplug and get away. And being able to do that in the building it's rare, So having that is valuable. I obviously haven't used it yet, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I got a few more. I know your time is precious, and we got Jeff Weber here from One Oklahoma. John Mateer is in the house with us. Let's talk family. So our producer, Blake Gamble, did a lot of work on this background, okay? Let's start with your parents. Is it true they're former swimmers, and is there any swimming in John Mateer's background?
No, sir. I have not swam, but it is true. They're both swimmers. They're pretty good. I mean, you could talk to them; they'll ramble about how good they were, But no, I never swam. They never made me swim. I picked up a ball and I wanted to throw it. So here we are.
Sister and you, younger or older sister?
Older sister.
Competitive with each other?
Not really. It's more me and my dad. She'll compete, but my dad's more competitive.
But I hear that you guys had quite a wee bowling rivalry back in the day. Is this true?
Yes, that's definitely true. Wii bowling was the stem of a lot of my competitive.
Dude, I love Wii bowling. I feel like that's the one thing I've mastered in my life. So for you, then, whenever it's getaway time, are you Netflix? Are you a podcast? I mean, what's John Mateer doing whenever? Are you just football all the time? What's your getaway whenever you want to relax?
Music is. I love music. I think just sitting down and listening to that. But then, if it's daytime, I'm a big golfer. I'm not great, but I really enjoy it. And then just hanging around with friends, being around good people.
Are you a film junkie, or do you like to get away from that too?
I love watching film. I love learning. I think it's valuable to get away and to unplug. But there's definitely a time and place during the week, during the season. It's all I don't get a break, right? And then, which is great, and it's part of it, and I love it. But then when it's all done, I'm not watching film right now, right? But I'll probably go back when we start again. I'll sit in a room for about maybe 1 to 2 hours a day and watch film and just learn.
For you coming in as a transfer, this offense. I mean, is how unique of a situation is it to come in to where you not only have Ben Arbuckle, but you're going to be almost like a coach for a lot of these guys. What's that process look like to you, John Mateer, to help not only implement this offense, but then execute it and be a sounding board for guys?
Yes, sir. I'm really excited for that. That was a big reason. I chose to come to Oklahoma, other than a lot of other great reasons, but it'll be good, a smoother transition, so I can put all my time into learning, my teammates and getting to know them instead of just sitting there and having to learn a new offense and being able to help and teach them. I'm excited to do, and I've been in this offense for 2 years, and taking another step in an offense like this is great. Bailey Zappi was in it for 4 years, and he has a bunch of records. So I'm excited to take the next step in the offense and learn the things I can do and just take it to the next level that like we did this year, but even better.
Yeah. For you personally, finding that voice in a new locker room, John, have you thought about that and what that looks like to you?
I'll be honest, I've never really done it before. This is going to be my first time just, transferring and coming in. But I think, I think I'll be okay. I think God will put me in the right situations and I'll be myself. And maybe I'll have to get uncomfortable, get out of my comfort zone here and there. But but I think it would be okay. And just getting to know them, putting the time in to get to know my teammates is going to be the main thing.
I know I've kept you for like a good 15 minutes here, but you got time for two more before I let you get. I know you got. Okay, cool. Number one, you met Deion Burks. You've got to meet a few guys. Have you met Jaren Kanak yet? And are you familiar with his social media game? And are you okay with it?
No, I haven't met him. I've seen that he told everybody to welcome me before I was even admitted on Twitter, but that was funny. His social media is really funny. I haven't met him. But Deion was great. Deion was hilarious, and he was super excited. But yeah, it was great. For those of us in this neck of the woods, we've seen Baker, Jalen, Kyler, old school people, Jason White, obviously Josh Heupel, right? We've seen these offenses that are pretty explosive. John, what kind of separates Ben Arbuckle's offense and what you do in this offense? What do you think really kind of stands out in differentiating this offense from most of those that we've seen in the past, if anything? Yeah, I think the diversity, the ability to get in spread, get in empty, but then also in short yardage, get in I formation and go under center and do those things. And he uses his players really well. He's not going to just draw up plays because they look good. He's going to draw up plays to get people involved and to give the quarterback options and good progressions. And he does a great job. His play sequencing is really good, and it's going to keep improving. And his use of tempo is really exciting. And he makes it simple on the quarterbacks. I'm not going to say easy, but, that they really did a good job teaching me all the protection checks and all the things I needed to be aware of, because you're not going to be able to protect everything, but if I can see it, I can make the right checks for it. And they're just really good with the coaching and helping me understand things. And I'm just trying to follow in those quarterbacks' footsteps. I'm from Dallas, and I've watched them forever, and Baker and Tyler and Jalen, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I get to stand in their position. It's really an honor. I don't think I've really grasped the concept of me being an Oklahoma Sooners quarterback. It's surreal to me, and it's awesome. But I'm super excited.
I'm ready to run through a freaking wall right now. All right, any big Christmas plans? You got. I mean, you're our gift, so thank you, Jeff. Thank you, John. Thank you, Coach Venables. But got any big Christmas plans?
No, we kind of just hang around the house and eat a good meal and watch football now. It's football on Christmas, which is great. Hopefully it doesn't buffer on Netflix, but it'll be hang around and just open gifts. I do like Christmas.
Yeah, it's number 3 on my holiday depth chart. 4th of July 1, John. Thanksgiving 2, then Christmas 3, right? So Christmas a little higher on your depth chart. You don't like 4th of July being that high?
I mean, I've never heard anyone have 4th of July that high.
I know. It's hot dogs, it's America, it's fireworks, it's cold beer. I mean, all of them come together. So that's why it's so high on my list. What's Christmas number 1 on your depth chart?
Christmas and Thanksgiving go back and forth. Being up, I like both of them.
All right. Well, hey, man, we're pumped, as you can tell. Thank you so much for finding time to come on this morning. Thank you for choosing Oklahoma, and best of luck, man. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
There he is, John Mateer, and Jeff Weber is in with us from One Oklahoma. What a kid, man.
I told you, great kid. Really sharp, really good kid.
What kind of jumped out to you whenever you first had a chance? You kind of brought it up, his personality. You can tell, very gracious. Pretty cool, the 2020 picture he told us about wasn't even a recruiting trip. He was at a baseball tournament. He's like, Dad, let's go get a picture.
Yeah.
And they come down here and they take a picture, and he held on to it for the right moment.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like when it was actually you and your interview with Coach Arbuckle and their first date and all of that. Like there's this tie that sort of brought him here. He came on campus. He threw the horns down, and that's a kid that wants to be here.
Yeah,
and that jumped out.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. He the personality side of it, you can tell he's going to be someone that Sooner fans are going to flock to.
Big
They're going to love this, right?
Yep.
So I brought this up right off the top of the show, 6 a.m. this morning. Most of you were hopefully still in bed. Job's not done, right? John Mateer is here. That is awesome. Job's not done for him. He's got to go win games, right? job's not done for Jeff Weber and One Oklahoma either,
Right.
or Oklahoma Sooner fans, right? We still have work to do. And just because you get this commitment, it doesn't mean that the need to support One Oklahoma stops, does it?
It starts now, actually. We've talked several times about every Sooner fan participating in some way. Give, donate, subscribe, buy merchandise, all that good stuff. But when you have a guy like John Mateer, if you're a business owner, the opportunity to do to some kind of marketing program that drives interest in your business with John Mateer. And here's what's really important, and I want people to understand. NIL is here to stay, obviously, and this is the way forward with sponsorships and marketing agreements and those kinds of things. At One Oklahoma, there's a couple of important roles we play. One is we need to protect John Mateer's time or, Jeremiah Fear's time. So, yes, they can help your business owner, but also they can stay focused on court, on field, et cetera. And then we also make it easy for the business. So it's that middle ground where we make it easy for the student athlete, we make it easy for the brand that can actually generate real return on interest. And this is where the mix of business and NIL and student athletes comes together in the right way, the way I think all of us want it to be. And that's what we're trying to do.
That is a great point. I've always thought of this. Everything goes back to softball.
Of course.
For me. And Jackie Livingston, one time when we in the infancy of NIL, Jackie said one of the great things about NIL for women's sports is that there's not $1 million payday potentially waiting for them in the pros, right? So when you give the NIL that focuses on women's sports, it might be a nest egg, right? It could be a home or a business starter. And I've always thought that's really good. You just said something that honestly, I think, and when Jackie said that, it was a light bulb moment for me. You just had a light bulb moment for me because what do we hear from so many people about NIL? Well, what's your return on investment? Yeah. What? How long are you going to – sorry, Drake, I'm all over the place while Drake is trying to tape this. What's the return on investment? Yeah. How at some point – and I'm guilty of this, right? Well, you just hit it on the head. We're going to be smart with these guys' times, but you might be the ref and you might be Brian Vineyard. You might say – by God, I want to do what I can to make sure that that John Mateer is the face of this. Or you might run, any business here in town, right?
That's right.
John Mateer could be the face of your business. I mean, it's pretty cool to see those opportunities. That's your return on investment.
That is it's real return on investment in a true business sense. And then, obviously, as fans, what we always talk about is wins on the field and those kinds of things.
Right.
And that's part of it as well. If you want to, move people to retail, if you want to drive more feet in your store, if you want to put more eyeballs online, there's no more passionate fan base than Sooner fans. So if you have those Sooner athletes, those Sooner student athletes representing you in your marketing campaign, a guy like John Mateer or Ella Parker, I mentioned Jeremiah or Sam, pick your person and you can do your business really, really well and help out OU on the field. It's
Absolutely
amazing.
The best advice we can give is just go to the website, right?
Go to oneoklahoma.com and participate.
Dude, congratulations. What a big month for you.
Very exciting.
What was whenever you got the deal done, knowing that it's kind of nonstop for you? It's like, yeah, we got that. All right, time to go work on the next one. Yeah. But what was that moment like for you and your staff whenever the John Mateer deal got done?
I'm not kidding. I mean, it was like we had won the Super Bowl.
That's so cool.
I mean, there's high-fiving all around, and I can't emphasize it enough. It's Coach Venables and Coach Arbaugh, they got him here. We were in the business of, making sure the business side was done, but we went crazy at the One Oklahoma house.
and it seems, too, in this process, and I just want to say, I'm not going to ask him about a call from another school's star, but it seems as if, there was quite a fending off to do late because, I mean, you think about it. You just heard the kid. You've watched the highlights. Who wouldn't want to come play for that? I think it shows, Jeff, and I think this needs to be screened from the mountaintops. Oklahoma's going to be competitive in this world, and One Oklahoma is the main reason why.
Student athletes want to come play for Coach Venables. They want to come play for the Sooner brand. And John mentioned it, Soul Mission. There's more to OU than just the football for the OU football program. But obviously, if you're a football player out there, this Sooner brand, it's going to come back. We're going to have a great season next year. Fans are going to lose their mind in a positive way. I mean, it's just a great place to be, and I am already so excited.
I am too, man. All right, I know you got to get – thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Really
Big time. He was great, man. I really appreciate you making it possible for him to jump on our program here on The Ref. He's great. Bob Stoops is going to join us coming up after the bottom of the hour to take us home right here on the Home of Sooner Fans.